So now there's a petition against Don Lemon. I think the last time I checked, the last time I saw it, might have been a day or two ago, had 29,000 signatures. And the petition is to get him removed from CNN. To sum up the actual description of the petition and the reason why people want him to be removed is a general disdain for blacks in the media. It's silly because this stems from, I guess, an accumulation of events. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back, and the reason why the petition has come to the forefront now is because of the situation with the young lady at Spring Valley, where, you know, the officer slammed her on the ground in the classroom or whatever. And he was on CNN talking to a former federal prosecutor, Sunny Hostin. And she was trying to tell him that it doesn't matter what the facts are, which is very scary for a former federal prosecutor to say that it doesn't matter what the facts are in the Spring Valley high school case. Because how can someone as a former federal prosecutor say that the facts don't matter? What if you were on the hot seat? She got you on the hot seat and she's prosecuting you. You don't think that you carry that same attitude into the courtroom when it comes to you and determining your future? If it was your life on the line, your next 10, 15, 20, 30 years of your life, wouldn't you want her to think about all the facts? Wouldn't you want all the facts to matter? See, just because you may disagree with what happened to the young lady doesn't mean that you can just ignore what the law is. You can't just ignore what's going on you can't just ignore that type of stuff. You have to really pay attention and uphold it, because what goes around comes around. You could say it's okay for the young lady to not have any facts about the police officer or what happened before in the case. You can just label him as being wrong. But then what happens when it comes to you and somebody say that about you and you're actually innocent and you want people to really see what's going on before they just judge you? See, that's how these things happen. We sit here and holler about how we want criminal justice reform. We want people to give us justice, give us free, as they say. We want people to do right by us in the criminal justice system, right? But do we really? I mean, we sit here and talk about Sunny Hostin like she's a good person and Don Lemon is the bad guy. But Sunny Hostin is a former federal prosecutor, and she says that the facts don't matter, and we praise that. And then we wonder why we get people that are in law enforcement that think the facts don't matter. That is the stage of what's going on. Now, Don Lemon was trying to explain to her the exact same thing I just explained. You are a former federal prosecutor. You're supposed to think about all of the facts, taking all sides, be objective, be non-biased. Okay, be neutral to get all the facts and then come to a conclusion. You can't just have this biased, predisposed mindset against someone without even thinking about what the facts are. We need to have all of the information before we can make a judgment. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That's common sense. If you are a professional journalist on CNN, which is supposed to be a well-respected news station internationally, you can't just report things without having all the facts. First of all, you can get sued for that. Second of all, it's unprofessional, and people that look for professional news pick up on that. And then when you can't really break stories anymore because nobody takes you seriously. If you break a story, people are going to say, "Oh, is this real or is this fake?" Professional journalism has to have a certain type of standard to it, right? You can't just come in there with just opinions and feelings and the matriarchal, soft kind of way of doing business. You can't do that. See, that's what the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne, Wendy Williams, Media Takeout, that's what they do. They report news, but it's not really real news. Or they say allegedly all the time and joke about it because they know that they're not telling you the real news. It's entertainment. But when you're talking about CNN, that's a real news station. You can't just go on there and say whatever you want to say. It has to have real substance. It must be something that is legitimate and accurate. But see, this is what happens when you're a black male. You can't be a conservative. You can't even say anything that's anywhere near against the liberal establishment. Don Lemon is not even a conservative. Don Lemon is a liberal for real. I mean, from what I've seen about Don Lemon over the years is that he's a liberal, but he's more of a moderate. He's not an extreme right-wing nut job, but he's liberal. I mean, he's gay. He's come out on TV. He supports gay marriage, if I'm not mistaken. He's liberal. I can go on about what makes him a liberal outside of him being gay and wanting gay marriage, but he's not a conservative, really. But at the same time, I respect Don Lemon because he at least is a professional journalist and tries to come to a middle ground, and he tries to find facts. He doesn't talk about things with so much emotion and opinion like a Melissa Harris Perry, who is not really a real journalist. And that's exactly why MSNBC has ratings that are in the toilet, because people recognize that it's not real news. People recognize that it's more political conjecture, and the journalists are more like pundits, right? They're more like guest commentators than actual journalists. So they recognize that about MSNBC. And I respect Don Lemon for not going down the Melissa Harris Perry and Touré road. He tries to keep things professional and with as little of his personal opinion as possible. And people don't like that. They want you to toe the party line. And a lot of that means that you got to lie and give your own personal opinion. And your personal opinion must be correct. Your personal opinion must be that of the liberal establishment. Or else you're demonized, tarred and feathered. They won't nail you on a cross. That's what happens when you're a black male. You must toe the Democrat Party line, which is lie about slavery, lie about liberalism, lie about everything. Don't take responsibility, make stuff up. As long as it makes blacks appear to be victims and not responsible for their own actions. If you say anything to the contrary, we're not having it. And that's what's going on. So basically, if you stand up for common sense and say, wait a minute, we need to find out all the information, you are nailed to the cross. You're lynched. You are ostracized from the so-called black community and the so-called left, especially as a black male, because they feel like you are a slave on the plantation. You should be the least one, the least likely to leave, because you have to be dependent upon the Democrat plantation. And the Democrats own you. So it's like, how dare you leave? I've fed you, I've clothed you, you need me, and I need you. And you understand this, and we have an agreement, nonverbal, understood. How dare you leave? That's what that is. But if you say, hey, you know that little girl who bucked at the authority, didn't do what she was told to do, and got slammed out of her chair, she was a total victim. It wasn't her fault. It was slavery. Oh, now you are canonized as a saint, just like Saint Freddie Gray in Baltimore, Maryland, a repeated heroin dealer, thief, burglar, assaulter, scam artist, been arrested 25 plus times at age 25. This guy, when he gets himself killed in the car while going to jail for selling heroin, he gets a mural erected of him. Not one, not two, maybe even more. I know it's at least two. The first mural is his name with hearts, wings, like he's an angel. Then there's another mural with him, his face big on it, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. So we have elevated a consistent drug dealer, somebody who was on the way to jail when they killed themselves, for the 25th or 26th, 30th, beyond 25 times. Could have been the 30th time. For the same exact, for selling drugs, for selling the same poison that has killed so many of our family members and friends. And it's destroyed the lives of so many others that they haven't died yet. the guy that was going to jail for doing that gets placed at the same level as Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. We canonize the demons in our community and we lynch the angels. Then we wonder why our community is in such dire straits. And at a certain point, we have to wake up and realize it. What nobody can say at this point is that it's not happening. Go to change.org and you can see it for yourself.